Was I wrong about the 2024 New Orleans Saints, ladies and gentlemen? Today is the morning after the day before. Today is Monday. The Saints were mollywopped in front of God and everybody by the Raiders yesterday. We've had a day to think about the game, a night to think about the game, and we're going to have a little discussion here today. Focused, centered around this tweet right here. Now, last night, as I was gearing up to watch Sunday Night Football. I'm sitting there, face of the franchise, already put out my review. I see this tweet come through by the Green Dot Gremlin. Quote, "Ain't you the one who said there's no way we only win 5 games at the beginning of the season?" Now, some would say, not me, but some would say this is one of the dumbest tweets maybe ever. Some would say, not me, that possibly Twitter should shut down because of how dumb this tweet is. But I'm not saying that. What I'm going to say today is we're going to have a conversation built off of this idea, because it's not just the Green Dot Gremlin who is saying this. There's people in the comments and on Twitter who are seemingly confused of how this season has played out. So we're going to talk about that at length, and we're going to go over the 2024 New Orleans Saints NFL season. Now, remember, I love the discussion. I love the discourse, whether it's on comments or tweets or SpeakPipe or whatever. Love to hear everyone's opinions, love to hear everyone's thoughts, and that's what makes this so great, is that we can discuss it at length. It's hard to get these kind of ideas out in a reply or a tweet, so a video is always a better way to do it. So we need to start with some universal truths, all right? Universal truth number 1, and we can all agree on this. The Saints season in 2024 has been horrible. The product on the field the last couple of weeks, or really at multiple parts this season, has been horrible. No doubt about that. Has been disgusting. It is not fun to watch us get dog-walked 25-10 by the Raiders. It is not fun to watch us lose 34-0 on Monday Night Football to Green Bay. It's not fun to watch us go on a 7-game losing streak. That is all true. The team is ass. The roster is bad. Who is on the field is bad. Our aging players have all seemingly hit the wall at the exact same time. That is all true. I am in no way saying that's not true. Next universal truth. The Saints have had a crazy amount of injuries this season. If you look at who has been hurt for the Saints, even if they just missed a game or half a game or in some cases multiple games, it's pretty wild. You're talking about Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, obviously Kendra Miller, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Lucas Patrick, Shane Lemieux. I'm sure I'm missing some people on the offense. Then you go on the defense, Demario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore, Pete Werner. The list goes on and on. The Saints have probably at certain points missed, I would say, 70% of their starters. The only player, Talise Fuaga, these players have all been banged up, all been injured, all missed time. Injuries are one of those things where they happen, and it's unfortunate, but it's not really reflective of the team. I'll give you an example. So this is obviously the standings, but look at the Miami Dolphins, all right? When you think of the Miami Dolphins, you think of Tua, you think of Tyreek Hill, you think of Jalen Waddle, you think of Devon Achane. The Dolphins have scored 7 more points. 325 to 6 more points. The Dolphins have scored 6 more points than the Saints. Is this reflective of the Dolphins roster? Is this reflective of Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle? Or is this obviously that their star players have missed time? Is this obviously that they had to deal with some injuries? Obviously, it's that they had to deal with injuries. No one is looking at this 325 and saying it's reflective of Tyreek Hill, Tua, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, and Raheem Mostert, right? We can all agree with that. That's not a crazy idea. Let's look at the 49ers. The 49ers, one of the best rosters in football, one of the most winning teams in the last 5 years. They're 6-9. They have won one more game than the Saints, okay? Is there 6-9? And you can agree, the 49ers being 6-9 is way more disappointing or way more underachieving than the Saints being 5-11. The 49ers were Super Bowl favorites. They were NFC favorites. They were Super Bowl runner-ups. They have all pros all over the field. They have one of the best GMs in football, one of the best coaches in football. So we can all agree that 6-9 is which will be 6-10, which will be probably 6-11. You can all agree is way more disappointing than the Saints being 5-11. So, is this reflective of John Lynch? Is this reflective of the roster? Should John Lynch be fired? Should John Lynch be on the hot seat because the 49ers are 6-9 and scuffling and 1-4 in the division and horrible? No. Is this we had injuries, McCaffrey got hurt, Trent Williams got hurt, Brandon Ayuk got hurt, what are you going to do? We're down to our fourth running back, whatever. Yeah, it's very easy to sit back and say, yes, obviously this is a product of injuries and a product of just kind of unfortunate events. But with the Saints, people are very quick to say, wait a minute. In the preseason, you said this was a good team. Don't you think maybe the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is our starting running back and Marquez Valdes-Scantling is our starting wide receiver, two players that weren't even on the team in the preseason, don't you think maybe that has something to do with this? Very difficult, ladies and gentlemen, in the preseason to sit here and forecast that Spencer Rattler, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who wasn't on the team, MVS, who wasn't on the team, Dante Pettis, Cedric Wilson, Mason Tipton, Bub Means, Connor McGovern, who wasn't on the team and isn't on the team. Very hard to picture and preview those players being impactful players and getting to start in multiple games this season. So already, we've kind of debunked this, right? Already, we've kind of debunked this and shown, how are you possibly supposed to forecast injuries like that and being down to your fourth, fifth, sixth, players? We're now going to do an exercise. I'm going to show you 3 teams, okay? I'm going to show you 3 teams, and I want you to tell me, don't cheat. Do not cheat, all right? I want you to answer in the comments below. 2-part answer. First part, there's 3 teams. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3. Team 1, which team is it? Which team? Just flat out, which team is it? Answer 2, what do you think that team, what record would they have if they played an entire NFL season? Okay? So Team 1, what team is it? And what would their record be if they played a whole season? Team 2, same thing. Okay? I'm going to show them. You answer. We'll go through it. All right, let's take a look. Team 1. We'll go ahead and... Team 1. We have starting quarterback, Tanner McKee. Running back, Lou Nichols. Wide receivers, Johnny Wilson, Aniyah Smith, Jacob Harris. Okay? What team is that? And what would their record be in a full NFL season? Team 2. Quarterback, starting quarterback, Devin Leary. Running back, Rasheen Ali. Wide receivers, Tylan Wallace, Dayton Wade, and Devontae Walker. Team 3, starting quarterback, Gio Lopez. Running back, Bryalan McReynolds. Wide receivers, Javon Ivory, Devin Voisin, and Jamal Pritchett. Okay, go ahead and put your answers in the comments below. Now, what I've done here is I have replaced the quarterback, running back, skill position players with what has happened to the Saints, which is your third string quarterback becoming your starter, your third, and really this isn't even true because the Saints' third string running back is not our starter. Our starter is a guy we got off of waivers. So I'm actually helping these teams out and going to their 3, 4, and 5 or 4, 5, and 6 receivers, which is what has happened to the Saints, which again isn't even true because the Saints' number 1 receiver is the guy we got off waivers who also was injured. So the Saints really are rolling out there like 5, 6, and 7 receivers. All right, go ahead. Are we all finished up? Okay. Team 1 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Team 2 is the Baltimore Ravens. All right, 2 pretty damn good teams, 2 pretty damn good rosters, 2 pretty damn good GMs, 2 pretty damn good franchises. But if you go to the lengths that the Saints have gone, you can see they're not deep. No team is as deep as you have to be to survive your third string quarterback, your third string running back, and your 5th, 6th, and 7th wide receivers. All right. Team 3 is the University of South Alabama. Now, why did I throw them in there? Because it shows you that even if you're mixing and matching pro and college, when you get to this depth, when you get to 3, 4, and 5s, 5, 6, and 7s, you completely lose your identity as a team. You completely lose who you are. Does Team 1, does that scream Philadelphia Eagles? Does that scream tush push and Jalen Hurts and everything that the Eagles are known for? No. Does Team 2 scream the Baltimore Ravens with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and everything we know they are? No. Rasheen Ali and Devin Leary are not doing that at all. Team 3 might honestly be the best team, and they're a college team. So it shows you just how much an identity can be lost going a little bit down the depth chart. Now, the last thing we want to look at here, go ahead and remove that. Next thing I want to look at, we'll go through the tweets here. Let's see here. If your entire season hinges on a center, I appreciate the European spelling, and a gadget guy, your roster isn't good enough. How insane is this tweet? I mean, this is some crazy stuff right here. Completely removing the fact that our starting quarterback is hurt. Our starting running back and best player on the team is hurt. Our top 2 wide receivers are hurt. We've traded away our best cornerback and one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Like, it's insane. Like, it's crazy. Crazy. Like, imagine looking at the 49ers like I just showed you and saying, I mean, if your entire season hinges on Brandon Ayuk, your roster isn't good enough. It's like, well, you completely left out that Christian McCaffrey's hurt. What the hell? You've completely left out that Trent Williams is hurt. So we'll go through some more. Let's see. Now, my argument was, this was good too. So he says, it's not hindsight to look at this. When people said we're a 5-win team, you met their opinions with smug responses and dismissed the idea entirely. By the way, it is the definition of hindsight to, in week 16 or 17, to take that information and to go back to preseason and grade it off of that. That is quite literally hindsight. That's like saying right now it is saying anyone could have seen that Christian McCaffrey wouldn't have a good year this year. It's like, well, yeah, you can see that now. He's been hurt all year. But so then it says the roster is paper thin, which we've shown. Every NFL roster is thin when you get to your 3rd string, 4th string, 5th string. Your 2 best wide receivers are brittle. They were always going to struggle with injuries, always. You could say the same for the teams like the Eagles, like the Dolphins, like the 49ers. Tua, history of injuries. Waddle, history of injuries. Christian McCaffrey, history of injuries. True? True. Jalen Hurts, history of injuries. Hurt right now. Hurt last year. Like all these teams do that. All these teams, all players deal with this. Does it mean that roster building you should completely ignore those players? No. Last year, was anyone saying that Christian McCaffrey is brittle and he's always going to struggle with injuries? No. because he wasn't hurt, but he has struggled with injuries his entire career. No one cares about that until you are injured. And you certainly can't weigh that in roster building. Give me Christian McCaffrey every season. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. Give me Jalen Hurts every season. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. If you're the Dolphins, I would much rather have Tua than Skylar Thompson, even if it means that Tua may get hurt. To weigh the possibility of injuries is crazy. Is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And then the rest is all just kind of the same. But the biggest thing I want you to take away from this before we get to the next point is that the Saints are obviously, if everyone was healthy, they are obviously not a 5-win team. Obviously. Are they a 12-win team? Are they a 13-win team? Are they competing for the NFC? We don't know about all that. But no doubt about it, they are not a 5-win team. No doubt about that. They're probably closer, if I had to guess, to an 8-9 win team, which is pretty much what we said, almost exactly what we said preseason. They're an 8, 9, 10 win team, somewhere in there. They go 2-0 and look like one of the best teams in the NFL, one of the best offenses, certainly. And yeah, if you believe they're an 8, 9 win team and they go 2-0 and look like that, that's going to bump up to 10, 11, 12. Then the injuries happen. It is what it is. One thing you got to admit with Kubiak, you have what we said in the offseason that he would dramatically impact the running game. That has no doubt happened. Kamara, for sure, obviously, was on pace to break 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. And that's with Eric McCoy out. And that's with Spencer Rattler starting. That's with Jake Haener starting. That's with no wide receivers. That's while losing multiple games. And he was still going to have his best yardage season. So even amongst all that, Kubiak absolutely did, and this scheme absolutely did fix the running game. It absolutely did save Trevor Penning's career. Like, those things are true. Now, the last thing we're going to look at is Mickey Loomis. So I just want to show y'all, and again, I'm not saying Mickey Loomis is, God's gift to NFL front offices. But to watch the roster we're watching and to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire as our starting running back, MVS as our starting wide receiver, and to sit here and say Mickey Loomis is failing is crazy. Just like it would be crazy to say John Lynch is failing or the Dolphins front office is failing. Now, you could argue that Loomis is too much of he wants yes men around him, or he wants to control coaches, or he wants to do this. That's all, whatever. You can say that. That all, there's credence to that. But to look at the last, like I saw a video after the Raiders game that was like, Mickey Loomis can't keep doing this. And it's like, I don't think Mickey Loomis planned on guys who weren't even on the team to have multiple, or to have impact roles multiple games this season. I think Mickey Loomis would agree with the fans. This sucks, because it does suck. But I want to show you what Mickey's done as a GM. All right. Mickey's been the GM for 23 years. He is 208 and 163. It's pretty sporty. Pretty sporty. That comes with a Super Bowl championship, and that comes with a 9-8 record in the playoffs. All right. So for all you math superstars, 208 minus 163 gives you 45 games over 500. Now, if you look at John Lynch for the 49ers, John Lynch does not have a Super Bowl. He is 70 and 60 in 8 years. Okay. The Niners have been pretty good, right? A couple bad years in there, 6-10, 4-12, 6-10 this year, which will probably be 6-11. But overall, you would say John Lynch has been pretty good. All right. Again, math wizards, John Lynch, 10 games over 500. Mickey Loomis, 45. Next up, let's go with someone with a little more tenure, okay? Because Lynch only has 8 years. Loomis has 23. So let's go with Howe Roseman, the Eagles. He has one Super Bowl, got there before the other one. Roseman, who you can agree, Eagles have been sweet. Roseman's been the GM for 15 years. All right. He has a record of 138 and 104. Again, for all the math champions. That's 34 games over 500. One Super Bowl and a 6-7 playoff record. Okay? Say what you want. Again, you don't have to like the bubblegum chewing. You don't have to like all that. Say what you want. But this is kind of impressive. This right here is impressive. To be 45 games over 500 in 23 years with one of the worst franchises up until 2002, with one of the worst franchises in NFL history. Super Bowl, Drew Brees, Sean Payton, navigated Katrina, has navigated post-Drew Brees and post-Sean Payton. All right? So, to go 20,000 feet in the air and to take a look at it in its totality, not bad. This year, bad. This year, injuries, sucks. Put your hands up sometimes. What are you going to do? Do Saints fans deserve this team? Do we deserve a better product? Yeah. But no one expected the product that's on the field to be on the field. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments below what you think. There's a lot to go over here. It is certainly okay to be upset with what we've watched this season. Yeah, it has not been fun. No doubt about it. I've watched every second of this season, every single play, every single moment of every single game. Yeah, unenjoyable watching Connor McGovern and CEH and MVS and Jake Haener. Yes, that has not been sweet. Kevin Austin Jr. and Mason Tipton and Bub Means. No doubt. Not cool. But I understand that they are not part of this. They are not part of the team. They are on the team, but they're not part of the identity. Okay? Just like Rasheen Ali, Tylan Wallace, Devin Leary, Dayton Wade, and Devontae Walker, just like they are on the Ravens team, but they are not part of the Ravens culture. They are not part of the Ravens identity. They are not what Ravens fans expect. And if those guys had to play 10 games and they lost 10 of them because they are Devin Leary, Rasheen Ali, Tylan Wallace, Dayton Wade, and Devontae Walker, I would hope Ravens fans wouldn't sit back and say, the hell's our front office doing? This team sucks. What are we doing here? Fire everyone. Fire the front office. Get rid of them. Can you believe they put Rasheen Ali and Tylan Wallace and Dayton Wade and Devontae Walker on the field? I would hope the Ravens fans would sit back and say, well, this isn't really the product. This isn't what the plan was. The plan isn't Devin Leary. The plan isn't Rasheen Ali. The plan isn't Tylan Wallace. The plan isn't Dayton Wade. It's easy to see when you're not hyper-focused on the team as the team you root for. Right? It's easy to say, chalk up the Dolphins to injuries. Chalk up the 49ers to injuries. So you kind of have to sit back and say, yeah, it sucks, but chalk up the Saints to injuries. That does not mean that there shouldn't be a change. Yes, Dennis Allen needed to go. Yes, we needed to look at new head coaches, new coordinators. We need to change things. The culture needs to change. The identity needs to change. That's all true. But that isn't connected to CEH's performance. That's not connected to the results when you have the roster we have on the field right now. They're not the same. All right, get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching and listening. and I will see you in the next video.